and welcome to Eye on the Storm. I am Anna Prosser, joined by my lovely co-host, Gillyweed. Hi, Gillyweed.
Hi, Anna. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. And we also have a guest with us today. We're going to introduce him in a second if you don't recognize his amazing face. But first of all, if you don't know what this show is, you're like, wow, I just got into the Heroes of the Storm open beta, and I don't even know what I'm doing, and here, help me. Don't worry, you've come to the right place. Why, Gilly? What do we do here?
Guys, this is a show that's all about bringing on guests, talking about the game, learning about the game. Anna and I started this because we wanted to have a study session where we could learn more about the game and bring people in to be our guest tutors, as it will be. And we thought, hey, you know what? I bet other people would like to learn about the game as we are too, because eventually we wanted to get to a point where we could become casters. So that's why we set up this show. And every week we're going to bring on a guest. This week we've got FourCourtJester, who we will be talking to very soon. We talk a little bit about the community and a little bit about the game as well. We also spotlight different heroes in the game, and then we also have a Q&A throughout. If you have any questions for us or our guest, you can tweet us using the hashtag StormShow. But of course, we're also on the Misscliks channel. Anna?
Misscliks is a community that's about uplifting and providing support for female role models in geek and gaming culture, because there just aren't enough of them, so we want to give them as much exposure as we can. And so you'll see lots of female faces on this channel. We're really thankful to Misscliks for hosting our show here, and we are really grateful to you to tuning in. But we may be even more grateful to our guest, who is FourCourtJester! Yay! Actually, this is kind of cool, you guys, because we just launched open beta. We're going to launch the full game here in just a little bit. And FourCourt was actually our first guest ever on this show. Do you remember that?
I certainly do.
I do too. It's a heartfelt moment here on Eye on the Storm.
I know.
I think one of the questions was, what's a fort? And you both got it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I still have a tough time when I'm casting. I'll be like, keep.
Keep.
Fort.
Fort.
I have to pause to think about it. But anyway, FourCourt, if people aren't familiar with you somehow, could you tell us what you do, who you are, how you're affiliated with Heroes?
Man of many hats, both literally and figuratively. But I take care of Heroes Fires, so if you've been over there checking out some of the guides, or use the talent calculator, or our newly launched Hero Creator concept tool, which is already exploding, it's amazing, then yes, then you would have seen something that I have indirectly, directly, or just produced right out here for the Heroes community. So I do a lot of work there. On the other side of things, I do like to throw my voice into the Nexus. I do a lot of casting for tournaments, getting into more and more podcasts and shows. We just launched a show with TGN. We've been doing a podcast with Average Adam for a while as well. And yeah, I just play a heck of a lot of Heroes. I basically eat, breathe, sleep, play, work, everything. It's Heroes. It's my life right now. So there's a high chance a lot of people run into me, even if they haven't realized it.
Yeah, and most notably, perhaps, was one of the casters for Heroes of the Dorm, which was one of our biggest tournaments to date. So mad respect there.
Thank you. No, that was a fun time. Yeah.
I want to hear all about, I haven't seen the Hero Creator tool, so I'm going to have to resist the urge to ask you about it. So we'll probably talk about that later, because we have all sorts of things to cover today. Usually the format of the show is that we talk a little bit about what's going on in the community, any events, any trends, any big issues that are facing our community. Then we'll get into talking about the game itself. Then we will play a little bit while you guys can ask us questions, and FourCourt will share a build for us of a hero that he likes. We'll use heroesfire.com for that. Who are we going to build today, FourCourt?
Gazlo. We'll just talk a little bit about new Gazlo.
Somebody I never believed we would have onto the show has finally made it in the form of Gazlo.
Yeah, and then after our play session, we'll do a brief community spotlight where we show you something that we found in the Heroes community that we thought was particularly cool that week, and then the show will be over, and we'll have to wait till next week for more fun.
No.
But, Gilly, what are our topics this week?
Well, actually this week we are going to be doing two mainly on the side of community. We really wanted to talk about open beta, which is our first community discussion, as the game went into open beta on Tuesday. And because of that, we've got a ton of new people, new players in the scene, and we wanted to be able to welcome them. So the second part of our discussion will be good community resources, kind of a Heroes Community 101, if you will, where people can learn more about the game and get more into it when they're not just playing it as well. So that's going to be what we are talking about, and we'll start with open beta.
Yeah, I feel cheated because I have been barely able to play Heroes the last few days, so I don't feel like I have a great sense of what it feels like in-game, but I think around the game from the outside in terms of news and feeling and community, I work for Good Game and Twitch, so everyone's talking about games all the time, and a few months ago when I was like, let's do Heroes stuff, have you heard about Heroes things? Everyone was kind of like, well, we'll see. Right now, I can tell you around the open beta and after Heroes of the Dorm and with all of the money that we're seeing go into the Heroes of the Storm World Championship, people are paying a lot of attention, and all of a sudden all my coworkers want to play with me and they are really interested in doing Heroes activations. So from the outside, it's feeling really good. Do you guys feel that same thing?
Yeah. I think a lot of companies are really trying to hop on board. We've seen it even recently with teams, a lot of teams getting picked up too by sponsors. They're seeing the hype, and especially I think the hype that was around Heroes of the Dorm too. And I think on the outside, it's definitely super hype about it and just wanting to kind of hop on that bandwagon. I'm really excited to see where it'll take us all the way into the launch.
You can really feel that the hype is growing. We have people saying, I saw it on TV. There's commercials. They watch Heroes of the Dorm. They're like, esports, video games. The recent one was, I don't know what it's actually called in Korea, but there's a men's magazine that has a photo shoot. Is it actually just Maxim?
It's okay. Korean Maxim.
Yeah. And it has like girls with heroes tattooed on their bodies for some strange reason.
Actually the most awkward photo.
It's pretty awkward.
That's ever been on the cover of a Maxim. It's a really, I'm going to say it's a bad photo.
It's a little confusing, to be honest.
And they've got like temporary tattoos, like in awkward places of Heroes of the Storm.
They are, and it's just like the little logo, just like, burp.
You don't even see the logo.
I could show. I wasn't going to show it, but I'm going to show it. I'm going to say.
Avert your eyes, those under 18.
Yeah, Maxim, Korea, here, I'm Googling
It's just swimsuits. I mean, it's not.
Oh, yeah, it's not bad.
Family friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, but I mean, the hype is real. All this real world advertising. I mean, we saw Heroes at the Manny, I can't even say his name, fight. $400 million fight. It was right there with the Burger King. Now it's in Maxim. It's on TV. People are looking and paying attention, and it's feeling good for a June 2 launch in London. It's feeling good.
Yeah.
You know what was really funny is I got a text message the other day. Well, when I was at Here's the Dorm a couple days after, a friend texted me, and he's a huge sports fan, but never has gotten into esports at all. And he was like, I just can't believe that you were actually at this. I was flipping through channels and saw it on ESPN, and I just saw watching it. I can't believe you actually got to be there. And I was like, I know, this is what it's like with esports. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of activations that I hadn't even heard of too, like the Maxim thing I got today. I also wanted to show you guys, Ask Joshy just tweeted, there's apparently a Chicken McNuggets Heroes activation going on in China.
What?
Yeah, yeah. If you can
Nuggets
get,
of the Storm.
Nuggets of the Storm. Yes, you can get Heroes of the Storm credit by buying chicken nuggets, and apparently you can get the Golden Tiger mount somehow by eating enough chicken nuggets.
That sounds wrong.
Yeah. So thanks to Ask Joshy on Twitter. You guys can check him out. He works for Blizzard on Heroes of the Storm as well. So yeah, so a lot of really exciting hype going around, not only in esports, but in like gaming in general, which is, you know, a lot of people's concerns that they said to me when I first started getting involved in Heroes is like, okay, we already have 2 major big MOBA titles. Do you think there's room for Heroes of the Storm? Do you think people are going to get excited about it? And I'm feeling like what Blizzard has been saying all along, which is like, hey, this isn't a MOBA, you'll see when you play it, is starting to actually come across.
Yeah, I think both in-game and then actually... like with the new players who finally are getting in and are playing it and realizing it. But then, yeah, it's really cool to see that as well too. And I'm in a couple of like Facebook groups, and we've seen people like, if you're just getting in there, it's not just a direct from League or from Dota. It's a different game, so pay attention to your teammates. And I think that's maybe been the biggest point of contention right now, is like getting people to realize that.
Well, the biggest skill that they have to learn is like when to go from objectives, when to team fight. Because, League, team fights. There's no objectives. Kill them. All right. But, that doesn't always work in Heroes. You can have a 20-kill lead and still lose.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt.
I was playing with a coworker today who plays a lot of Dota, and he was like, okay, where should I take Nova? Should I, go kill things in the jungle, or should I be in lane? And I was like, well, you can go in the jungle if you want, but you probably won't find much to do there, so...
Especially the first 2 minutes of the game, since they don't exist. Yeah.
Jungling.
Yeah. But what I wanted to ask, speaking of being in game, is, like I said, I haven't gotten to spend a whole lot of time in terms of matchmaking or playing pub games or anything like that. How do you feel like it's going in terms of the influx of new players with matchmaking and the feeling in game?
Do you want to go first?
That's a delicate answer.
I think you should go first, and then I'll just echo the sentiment.
It's going to be mumbo jumbo for a while. With that new influx, they got to face somebody, and it's not always going to be other newbies. It will have a little bit of an adjustment period, and that is not even going to help anything, because on June 2, which is only 12 days away, it's going to then reset a lot of like ranked stuff, for example. A lot of MMR, like Hotswog says that they're going to reset their MMR. So even though we have open beta, I think it's just for server testing. It's not really to mount any kind of real testing data. So yes, it's a little wonky right now. I did a whole bunch of ranks today with Hengis, and like we got Cognitive as our first match, like actual team Cognitive, and then we got No Names, and then we got like somebody who's retired, and then we got No Names. Back and forth, like game quality was up and down, up and down. It's going to be like that for a while, unfortunately.
It has really seemed like that too. And some things that I've noticed too is we've always heard about how Blizzard is prioritizing if you've got stacks of people versus if you're playing solo. And I think that that's something that's really confusing the system right now, is there's a whole bunch of new people in the system just trying to play it. Like on my stream, twice now we've been matched 3 or 4 times in a row versus the same stack, and lost to them every single time, whereas before usually if you lost a couple times it was like, okay, we're gonna find you somebody else to fight with, because obviously this is not at the same level. But we got matched 4 times in a row. I think 4 times versus Team Solid, and it was just a bunch of us like getting together on stream and playing, and it was a little bit rough, but they were really nice about it. At least they were like, fine, we'll go to Hero League. I was like, love you guys. But I think it is just a little bit off, only because there's such a new influx of players that the numbers are way skewed, because there's so many people down at the bottom, and we're just gonna have to wait until the ranks completely fill out, both in Quick Match and in Hero League, before we're going to be able to see and say like, yes, matchmaking is set up correctly, or like, no, obviously something is wrong. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
That makes sense. Well, we had talked in the past about kind of the community feeling and concerns about toxicity. Do you guys see any of that happening yet? Are you concerned about it happening as we get more people in, or do you think we're going to be able to maintain the slightly more polite and positive community that we have here?
I've seen more people in uproar actually about mute allies, mute all allies.
Oh yeah.
I've actually seen more people against it than for it, which sounds a little strange. It's just like, we gave you an option here to get rid of toxicity, but I mean, it's a blanket. I personally haven't seen a huge amount. I've seen some newbies, but I mean, I'm also much higher than like a lot of this incoming. I fully suspect, the Dotards, the League of Legends, those kind of guys, they are going to come over to try the game, and they're just going to bring that attitude with them, at least initially. And we don't really have too much of a punish system as of yet. So it's likely to be prevalent, but I'm not entirely too sure if it'll affect those that have been here for a while.
There's definitely more of it, because there's more people playing. And I think at first I thought, okay, no, there's not going to be as much toxicity because you really have to work together. But I think because the game requires you to work much more cohesively, I could also see the opposite of that, where like if somebody is not quite working with it, it's like going to make people really angry, or, it's just going to be really even more frustrating and frustrate more people. So I don't really know. What I do hope is that Blizzard is on top of it. Obviously, they can't just get rid of it altogether, but I do hope that there's not sort of this like long years process of people saying you're not doing anything like other games have had. And at least right now you can report toxic and AFK players. At the end of the screen, there's like a little speech bubble in the stats screen where you can click on it and you can report and talk about what's going on. And hopefully more will be done there for sure.
Yeah, and also wanted to mention too that although we are getting into the actual game as opposed to, you know, the beta, there's still going to be feedback forums and places where you can talk about how you're experiencing the game. So please do take the time to do that, because we want to make our game better and better and better. On that note, I mean, there's certainly tons to talk about with launch. We've got events going on and things like that, but we've talked about those quite a bit before, and also you can find them on Heroes Hype on air, which Gilly and I produce every week through Heroes Hype. So if you want to hear more about what's going on in the community, go ahead and check that out. But do you think we've said all we need to say about open beta, or is there anything else, guys?
Just wait till June 2. I mean, like, if you're getting into the game and you're finding frustrations, give it a week.
Yeah. I think that's true, and I'm actually really, really stoked for the rank wipe, honestly, personally, because I stayed away from Hero League for a lot of reasons during this period of time, and I'm excited to really just dive into it when the game is actually launched. All right, well, that said, if you are new to Heroes of the Storm, or if you have been here a while but you're looking into kind of increasing your knowledge or finding resources to help you out in the game, what we'd like to do now is kind of take you through some of our favorite resources in the community that can teach you about the game on a very basic level. In case you're watching this and you don't have Heroes of the Storm yet, I just wanted to let you know how, because some people have said, I don't even know how to get in. It is open beta, so you could play right now if you want to. All you need to do is go to battle.net and log into your account or create your account and opt in there, and then you can download the game. So that's how you get it. After that, let's start talking about some of the best places to look for information and watching games.
Yeah, so we have this broken down into 3 different sections. So we've got streams and streamers that you can learn from, and then we also have talk shows like this one as well. And then finally we've got websites and resources where we'll also get to learn a little bit more about Heroes Fire, since we can pick Sean's brain, FourCourtJester's brain while he is here.
Oh God, you said my name. They're coming. Abort.
But let's start with streams and streamers. So Blizzard actually had a Community Stream Awards at the beginning of this year, and one of the categories, there were several categories for Heroes of the Storm, but one specifically was the most educational streamer. And so we did want to name off those people who were in that, because right off the bat, those are obviously going to be some good ones to look into. We have Caldor, Grubby, Zuna, ZP, and Dunk Train. And then there are still plenty of others too. FourCourtJester, what streamers do you like to check out when you're wanting to learn more about the game, or even what you think newbies might like as well?
Well, those are 2 very different categories.
Well, maybe start with newbies and then go once you've learned a bit more and you feel like you can go on to advanced.
Well, obviously more friendlier streamers, ones that will interact and answer your questions, are definitely a good one. I know ZP's runs a big fan base there. Nick Hotz as well. Trixler, his numbers fluctuate, but he's always down for VR games. He'll always answer your stuff. He's always talking to you. And that's exactly what these newer players are going to need. They're going to need those mentors. Hey, can you play this? Can you show me that? What talents did you take? Blah blah blah. Those kind of questions are great for streamers like that. I personally don't really watch too many non-esports streams, which is why, as I said, they're kind of 2 different things. Most of my interests do lie in the competitive strats. What can I take from there into my own gameplay? So ESL Heroes, Solid Jake, over in MOG Champ 2. I mean, these are the guys that run a lot of the NA tournaments. Gosu Gamers, the ESL Heroes over there. Anything Caldor runs, basically, is my big EU guides that I watch there. So if you're interested in competitive or playing, or what it takes to get into a competitive side of things, I would definitely hit up some of those names. But if you're looking for more newbie-ish kind of guys, yeah, look for those single talkers that are playing the game, so that you can talk to them like that.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also we wanted to make sure, or actually, Gilly, before we move on, what are some of your favorite streamers to watch for both of those reasons?
So I think for newbie-friendly ones, Mr. J Pickles is a great one. Like FourCourtJester was mentioning, he likes to answer questions, play viewer games, be able to help out and respond to the chat as well. Trixler, like you mentioned before, he's so good. He's a Blizzard CM, so he really knows the game, which is really awesome too. And he's a great streamer and personality as well. I also mentioned another notch He is one of the co-hosts for Stormcast, and we're going to get into that as we talk about podcasts. But I think he's really fun to watch too. He's very entertaining, but also really knowledgeable about the game and great to hang out with as well. And then Kai Berries, if you're looking she's super entertaining as well, but does have a great game knowledge as well.
Absolutely. I wanted to mention as well that one thing I like to do is watch some people that I know have great skills, but maybe have lower viewership. And I think if you're just coming into the game, that's a cool way to get your questions answered. A lot of times you find players who've just started streaming, who may be on pro teams or just about on pro teams, who you can ask questions and have a very deep knowledge base. And since you're one of very few people in the chat, they're very likely to answer you. So that's a little bit more of a strategy, but you know, I like to watch people like Chillatek or Michael Udall or some of those.
I saw that coming.
Yeah. He's kind of our little pet these days. He was great on the show a few weeks back. Make sure you watch that if you are going to go watch our YouTube VODs. I know, much wow. But yeah, and even like who was I watching the other day? I'm blanking on his name. Oh well, but either way,
you almost got a shout out, but forget it.
Yeah,
I have to echo sentiment on Chillatek though. He's amazing.
Yeah, Chillatek is fun, and it's also fun to be part of those communities as they grow. So I guess I'm kind of answering the next question that I had, which is when you're looking for a new streamer to watch, where do you go to look? And so my answer is I like to look on the Heroes of the Storm page on Twitch and then scroll down to the middle and see who I haven't looked at before and spend a little time getting to know some of those streamers. What about you guys?
I watch esports.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to find pro gamers that you want to watch in streams later too.
Yeah, but it doesn't really answer your question.
Yeah. What about you, Gilly?
What is the question?
Where do you look for streamers? Like, you have kind of a portfolio of the ones you like already because you've been watching a lot of streams since the alpha. But if somebody's coming in and they're like, how do I go about starting to look for streamers? Where should they look?
I would say find one streamer you like, maybe starting with some of the ones we mentioned, or starting with a player, something like that. Find one that you like and then ask them, because they know this community is so amazing. Streamers host each other all of the time in this. It's like when you're finished streaming, you host somebody else who you believe in and who you like as a streamer. And you just by streaming get to know them as well, and you find ones that you really like and enjoy watching, even if they don't have as many views. So I would say find somebody that you enjoy and then ask them, because they're going to have really good suggestions for you.
Yeah, I think a great example of that is I love watching Starby and Lashes Sashes. They play a lot together and they play a lot with other community members, so the streams kind of cross-pollinate. And those are great examples of people that I love to be part of their community and kind of learn their inside jokes and all of that. So that can be a fun reason to watch streams as well, depending on what you're looking for from your streams. But in other streaming type things or information you can watch, aside from just a single person playing heroes, there's also lots of great shows out there. I have a whole list of them. Gilly, why don't we start from the top with Stormcast? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, so Stormcast is really awesome. It is a very long-running show. A lot of these we're going to mention are super long-running shows. They've got 42 episodes so far. It's hosted by Mick and Notch, and these guys, they run other podcasts already, so they're already knowledgeable in how to run a podcast. It's very organized, just flows super well. I got to be on it once, and I was just blown away by how professional it was. And they really do research and come in every week. They talk about news that's happening. They also talk strategy, but I think it's still pretty newbie friendly as far as like, what do you think, what do you like to use this hero for, and what builds do you typically take when playing, and that type of thing. So it's still not, you know, super far and above, although they do get into some strategy too. So I think it's a really good show for all levels of play, and I really enjoy it.
Awesome. All right, next on our list is Lords of the Storm. Looks like they may not have been running quite as long. Looks like they're on episode 12 right now. But what can we expect from them?
Weren't they running a tournament?
Yes. I'm not sure if that's still going on.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's just my interjection. Yeah.
Okay. Still more, they like the Lords of the Lane, the 2v2 one. So yes.
Yeah. That is them, right?
Yes,
Pretty sure that's them.
I think so.
That's fun.
But they do deep dives of heroes. They also talk a lot about the tournament scene. So if you're starting to maybe want to branch into learning about what's going on in the tournaments and that type of thing, then I think that would be really good. And then more of the same, talking about heroes, going into them as well. I think those are kind of the two main things that they go or talk about.
Awesome. I'm just keeping going down your list. Gilly prepared this list, so I'm letting her do all the talking. Into the Nexus is next.
So Into the Nexus also has a ton of episodes. So they've been going a long time. They're going to know what they're doing by this point. They've got 50 episodes as well. And by the way, how many do we have? You know?
We are
Says
on
33.
episode 33. This is our 33rd.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy.
Uh-huh. I was trying to figure out when we're going to hit our year anniversary. Or if we did. I don't know. Anyways.
19 weeks to go, ladies.
We've skipped a few weeks, so I don't know if, you know, the weeks don't correspond with the year exact. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll let you know. We'll have a party. But anyway, Into the Nexus.
So yeah, it's more of news. They bring on guests as well, and they also like talking about the new stuff that's out, talking about the meta, that type of thing. So I think if you are looking for different podcasts, I would say check out an episode from all of these and figure out which one you really, or all of them. You can watch all of them too. But if you're like working and you need lots of heroes knowledge, but if you're really just looking for one to keep up, I would say just watch an episode of each of these and figure out, you know, who you're clicking with, who you really learn from, and then go from there.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, Hotscast is the last on your list of your favorite podcast talk shows.
Mm-hmm. And they've got, again, 42 episodes. I really like this one because they've got another female host, which is super awesome. Yay. Oh, sorry, this is episode 53, my bad. But
yeah,
it's over a year now.
Yeah.
They got us
beat. Yeah. they bring in guests every week and talk about the game. I was listening to it a little bit and I really liked they're definitely very entertaining to listen to. They've got a lot of chemistry and stuff too, so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, of course, these are mostly podcast, YouTube type shows, but also we want to give a shout out to the live stream shows like ourselves. You can also find our shows, of course, on YouTube, but it is a live format. And our good friends over at Town Hall Heroes are also in that live format. They have a lot more faces on their screen usually than we do. And,
between 3 and 5, yeah.
Yeah. And lots of lively discussion. Gilly, what would you say distinguishes Town Hall Heroes in terms of content?
Town Hall Heroes is another one of those shows that's been going for a very long time. It's very established, and it's really established itself, I think, as the pro-level strategy, talking with the pro players about the meta and the tournaments scene. So I would say once you start getting into the esports scene a little bit, then that would be where to go. As far as like newbie friendly, I'm not sure how newbie friendly it might be to somebody who hasn't played very much, but I think once you've got a handle on the game and you're starting to say, okay, I want to watch it more, I want to figure out what's going on with the esports scene, then I think this would be an excellent place to check out. All of the guys are really great on the show.
Yeah, I think if you were ever a StarCraft fan back in the day, I kind of equate Town Hall Heroes to like the state of the game of Heroes. Yeah. So I feel like that's a good way to figure out whether you would enjoy it, is if you.
Well, that's good. That was their intent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well,
nailed it.
This is by no means an exhaustive list. These are just some of the ones that we have found and run into that we really like. So please don't feel like if we didn't mention a show, it is not good. Certainly we could have missed the best one out there. So let us know if you know of some other ones. Tweet at us with the hashtag StormShow. We'll be sure to let people know if we see some more. But another thing before, I do want to talk about Heroes Fire as a resource soon because we are going to get into websites. But I wanted to go right into Heroes Hype really quick because something that FourCourtJester said that I think is really important is that watching esports tournaments is one of the best ways to learn and to become aware of the pro scene. And Heroes Hype is a website that has lots of resources, but one of the best things that they do have is esports recaps. So if you're coming into this scene and you're like, I have no idea what tournament to watch, when things are on, what teams are interesting, I would say one of the best places for you to go is to heroeshype.com and check out that esports schedule. On that note, though, FourCourtJester, what would you say would be your favorite tournaments to watch? Maybe your top 2 or 3?
Well, ESL's definitely been running the longest, and it's not, it's the most stable at this point. The WCA tournaments was not terrible to watch, but I kind of expected more of it. I think the best viewing experience I've ever had was the HBL, which was a Korea tournament, because they had television production, just kind of like, oh my god, kind of thing. China is now stepping into that ring there as well. So those have been the smoothest, but the stuff I typically watch week to week will be ESL.
Yeah, seems like they've got a really good handle on the scene.
Do you watch any, we kind of skipped ahead, but I wanted to know, do you watch any like live stream shows or podcasts that weren't included on that list that we had?
Not a particularly huge amount.
Okay.
I don't have a commute every day. I work from home, so I don't really have a lot of like free time just to listen to stuff. Programming isn't exactly something I can zone out of. Doing casting isn't something I can zone out of. So there's not a ton. I mean, a little bit of a butt here, but there's not a ton that I actually consume past ESL stuff and Town Hall and Misscliks.
The thing is, there's so much out there that I don't feel like anyone should ever feel guilty for not consuming.
No.
Because you have to be able to play the game enough and watch tournaments enough and listen to enough stuff and use resources, and there's no way you could ever consume all of this. So you consume what's most important to you.
Wait, and you mentioned that you were going to be on a show, though, right? Is that still? Are you starting up a show, or did I completely miss that?
I might bring back the FourCourt report one day, but right now I do run it's supposed to be bi-weekly, although it's way out of its bi-weekly right now. Tavern of Heroes with Average Adam and Liquid Oxy. Average Adam does TGN stuff, Oxy does Team Liquid stuff, and then of course I got my Heroes Fire stuff. So we have this interesting dynamic, but it's just a YouTube show. It's not frequent. Who knows if it'll become more. But so I would don't worry if you don't have it in your list. It's a little hard to find.
I actually should mention too, and I don't know if we have it on this list, but another good place to look for streams actually can be teamliquid.net. Again, that's a relic of my StarCraft past, but a lot of people will mark their streams online there on Team Liquid, and there is a Heroes of the Storm forum growing up over there as well.
Yep, Stormcraft has, I think, a live streaming section, or at least they're marked ones. Gosu Gamers has a few there as well. Heroes Fire does have a streaming section. We just never publicize it.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Well, speaking of Heroes Fire, I did want to mention a couple other things about Heroes Hype, but let's talk about Heroes Fire first.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us about the different types of things that you can, or that people can use and get out of Heroes Fire, especially the new tool you mentioned?
So Heroes Fire was originally meant for authors, for guides, and when it was early into the game, we basically copied over a lot of the MOBA Fire features. If you understand the fire part, right, it's basically out of League of Legends, because it's a network these days, right? But we've evolved it since. So not only do we have guides, we have a talent calculator. I think it is the most frequently used talent calculator out there. We put a lot of heart and soul into that one, and everyone seems to enjoy its current state. It's definitely been a bit of a journey. But you can just do up your talent calculator. It's all reactive, so a lot of people like that. You can embed the builds in your guides, and so you can share it with all your friends. So it's definitely our foremost kind of feature there. Past that, guides, we have featured guides. You can vote on guides. There's a lot of, we have a lot of page views on guides, especially some of our featured ones. We try to feature a free-to-play hero every week. So there's just oh, you don't know that hero? And it's free-to-play? All right, here's a guide. This will help you get started. So, I mean, we have the Sylvanas one has been done very well. Sham 2 from Town Hall Heroes has the most viewed and highly rated Diablo guide on our page. And so over 500,000 page views.
We've actually featured that guy.
Pretty awesome.
On the show.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So we're at least two of those views.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, 2 out of the 500,000.
Yes.
We couldn't have done it without you. Now, the new thing that we did just release is called Hero Concepts. So if anybody has been around Reddit for a long time, you would have noticed popping up every now and then there's this guide to a theoretical hero, or a hero concept, a hero creation. So we said, we sat down with Oxy, and actually this was Oxy ID, he came to us. He said, dude, I don't like using this PSD template. Like, I have to host my own forums. There's no subreddit for these heroes, and there's a lot of karma being thrown around for these heroes. So we're like, all right. There clearly is a lot of interest. I went to my bosses and I said, what if we just copied out the guide system, but for non-actual heroes? You know, why don't we just make a tool to create heroes? And they said, all right, sure. So we mocked it up and we gave it back to Oxy, and Oxy said, oh man, that looks amazing. So we did it. We launched it yesterday, and we have 140 concepts and growing.
Whoa, that's amazing.
In the last 24 to 36 hours or so.
That's so cool. Kendrick Swish, I don't know if you're familiar. Oh, yeah, you know him.
Chop Shop.
Yeah, he has Nexus Chop Shop, so that's really cool. I really love that.
Just tell him to bring the hero concept to Heroes Fire.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was on there, and I did a concept, so I might have to do that with mine.
So already,
for people who don't know what you're talking about, tell them what's Chop Shop.
So Nexus Chop Shop is a show where there's two guests, or there's two hosts, and then they bring on a guest, and each person brings in a hero concept, so a concept for a hero that they would love to see in the game. And you come in and bring it, you come up with the trait, the abilities, and the heroics, and then kind of how their play style. And so, and then they actually have a vote. They have their viewers vote on it. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I won that one, so you know.
Love it.
Thank you, thank you. It was for Gul'dan, the warlock. I was a warlock player in World of Warcraft, and
nice.
I got to flex my warlock muscles a little bit.
We have like 5 Gul'dan concepts already.
Yes.
You know, put yours up. You know, get people to vote on it. Already the views are rolling in. You can see some of the votes there as well. It works just like guides, but they're just concepts. So
that's super cool. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a market that you don't really think of when you make fan sites, and there's no other fan site out there that does this. So we have a home now for authors and theoretics and theorists and all that. So
very cool.
That's fun. I'm already working on the next tool, but I can't tell you anything about it yet.
Oh, we love Heroes Fire. Heroes Fire has actually been a part of our show since the very beginning, so we'll geek out about that for sure as soon as we can figure out what it is.
Yeah, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. See you then. Well, you did mention Heroes Hype, and you talked about how there's they list the upcoming matches. But they also have the esports review every week, which is amazing because it basically goes through all of the tournaments that have been done and tells you who won and some interesting matches from them as well. They do that with community too, and actually Anna and I really appreciated that so much that we developed a show together called Heroes Hype on Air. And so if you don't have the time to go through and make sure to read those every week, then you can subscribe to their YouTube channel. And Heroes Hype on Air is there every week and brings you Blizzard news, Heroes news, Blizzard event news, and then esports and community updates as well. And it's really, really awesome.
It's a nice little package.
Yes.
Thanks. We have fun making it.
That's the thing is I feel like for me, my time is at such a premium that I want to hear everything about what's going on in the community, and I want to hear it fast. So that's what I love about Heroes Hype is I can get my information in different digestible sizes depending on how much time I have. So I like that. But let's move on because we do have a play session to get to. So Blizz Pro is next on the list.
I wasn't aware that they were still doing hero stuff.
You weren't?
No. I haven't talked to the Blizz Pro guys in a long time.
They posted a Kael'thas build 11 hours ago.
Well, it shows you how much I paid attention.
Well, they've got really good news stuff, and actually, I don't know how I missed it, but they have a podcast as well. Oh. How did I miss that?
Heroes Power Hour, right?
Yes, Heroes Power Hour, and I love those guys.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Check out Heroes Power Hour as well. It's a really fun show. The guys on there are awesome. Personalities, and they feature a hero every week as well, and then do play several games with that hero, showing you the build and what they're trying to do with them. But they also, that's part of the Blizz Pro network, where they also provide guides for heroes and then just updates in what's happening in Blizzard as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, another site that's also multiple games is Gosu Gamers.
Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead. You go.
Well, no, I mean, they opened up a hero section. Like, it's all their tools and analytics and server power, and yeah, they do a lot. It's funny, because I actually cast some of the Ghost of Gamer stuff in Europe on the weekends, and I got involved with them just after I finished Awesome Knots and the Awesome Cup, which they're still running just without me now. It's just like the CEO Victor had no idea that I was in Heroes at all. So when I showed up there to the meeting, he's just like, "What are you doing here? Awesome Knots is over." It's just like, I'm here for Heroes. But they have a huge amount of like work and tools under their belt, and they do a weekly $3,000 tournament wrapping up this week.
Wow.
That's amazing. And they also have a listing of upcoming matches, so another one of those kind of like Heroes hype. But what I really like on their website too is they've just recently started their Nexus weekly newsletter, and it's like a very quick, short thing to read that's got a couple of things from news that's happened. They promote different streams, so this is another way that you might be able to find a streamer that you would like. Is they've got Storm Stream of the Week, and they're promoting those too. So it's a really cool newsletter that's just started up. So even if you wanted to catch up, there's only 3 so far. Hopefully they'll continue doing that though, because it's something that I really enjoy reading.
Storm Stream of the Week.
Well, it's called Heroes Weekly, but then they've got a Storm Stream of the Week part underneath that.
Nexus Weekly, right? Am I looking at the right thing?
Is it Nexus Weekly? Did I say Heroes Weekly?
Yeah.
Now I don't even know. It is Nexus Weekly. Okay, sorry.
So many things everywhere.
Well, of course, we cannot finish this without saying, hey, actually, the Blizzard website itself is pretty darn good resource. It's actually battle.net that you will go to find all this stuff. Heroes of the Storm has, close-ups on maps and things like that. They've got heroes information and all sorts of news that's officially coming from Blizzard. So you know that it's exactly the truth and exactly what has been officially announced. So that's a good place to make sure that you find news, as well as forums where you can learn more about the game, as well as talk about your experiences to help them continue to improve the game.
And then I put this at the very bottom, just really fast. Replays of the Storm. I haven't checked out much of the rest of the site, so I can't vouch for that. But they've got this amazing article that's map timers. I'm going to link it in chat because it's so good.
Map timers is a very intricate part of, the map.
Yes, and it lists all of them.
Which
with
is
the
awesome.
timers.
I have been
So
looking for this
nice.
my whole life. How did I not know this existed?
Somebody just linked it in my stream one day, and I was like, "You have won my heart, fair viewer."
As a web developer, they have a very slick site.
Yes.
I will give them props to that.
Huh. Okay, well, this is one of my new favorite resources in Heroes, so I'm definitely going to
I've got it
read
bookmarked.
There you go. Have it on your third monitor while you play? Yeah.
Yes. Well, and they update it too, because some timers have changed, and if you look at the top, it says up to date when they've last edited it. So they are keeping up this updated as changes to maps might come out.
Awesome. That's really cool, because that's one of the things that's hardest to figure out when you don't have a resource that's telling you. I mean, you'd just have to play a lot of games and figure it out. But that brings us to the midpoint of our show, where it's time for us to transition into our play session. But before we close, FourCourt, anything else that you would like to say to people who are either new to the game or are looking for resources of how to get better and become more involved?
Well, if they're new to the game, the best thing you can do is just play. Play, bring in your friends, find groups. Reddit has a whole bunch of channels. You can always find streamers to play with. Find a mentor, play the game. If you don't get a mentor, play co-op. Start learning the game. The more you learn, the more you're going to get drawn into it. I guarantee. So.
Maybe even the more you know.
Oh. Gilly, anything else from you? Any final words on that topic?
Definitely, this game is made to play with friends. Blizzard have said that over and over again.
Much better with friends, for sure.
Yes, so play with some friends, make friends, be nice, because it'll be easier for you to make friends, and you'll be happy and much happier in the long run if you do have some friends to play with. But if not, don't worry. Just come join us. We are a fun community, and we hope that you will enjoy the game. I hope that these resources will be able to help you out too. And thank you for, for joining us in the Nexus.
And of course, we want you to stay in touch with us as well. Gilly and I obviously are on this show every week at the same time on Thursdays, and we try to provide you compelling content. If you have any suggestions for or requests for content, we are always open to hear those. Just tweet at either of us with the hashtag StormShow, and we will take a look. And we also both stream, and we would love to have you come join us there as well. FourCourt, are you streaming recently?
Not on my channel. I have a lot of things in, like, I got fingers and pies, and I'm just waiting for them to return with either goods or empty-handed.
Okay.
So there's stuff coming, I swear, but it's been pretty quiet, and so that will come to a close soon.
And one more thing that we just have to plug too is that if you start playing the game, you really enjoy it, and you'd like to play in a competitive setting, but you're obviously not maybe yet at that pro level, be sure to check out the Heroes Hype Amateur Series, which is what Gilly and I cast every Wednesday. So yesterday we casted the Heroes Hype Amateur Series. Today we're doing our talk show, and that's every week. So feel free to come join us there as well. And now we're going to get into our play session, so be sure if you have any questions for FourCourt or for either of us or comments about any of this, tweet at us with the hashtag StormShow. We'll take a look during the game. You can also put questions in chat. I'll try to keep track of that as well. And we are going to, as we mentioned, go over a build for Gazlo during this play session. So we will link that build in the chat, and we will see you in just a few minutes. Bye, guys.
Bye.